Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. So happy to have you all here with me today. And just want to give a warm welcome to those of you that are joining me live, as well as those of you that are listening to the replay. Lesli Bitel here, business coach and mentor. And I'm really excited. I have a special guest today, Cindy Dallow, right? And really excited. Want to say hello, Cindy?
Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Happy to have you. Happy Thursday. Yay. Happy to have you here. So, gosh, Cindy and I go back quite a long ways now, don't we?
Yes, we do.
How many years has that been?
Gosh, it's been at least 5,
Right?
if not more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cindy and I worked together, yeah, about 5 years ago. It maybe five and a half. It
Yeah.
was quite a while ago. And got her set up in
Yep.
terms of creating her packages and programs and really
Yep.
nailing down her niche and target market and messaging
Yep.
and all that good stuff. And she has absolutely exploded since then in terms of her business. I've been following her work diligently since then.
Thank you.
So, really excited to have an opportunity to get to, kind of see, pull back the curtain, so to speak,
Sure.
and learn more about your business. And specifically, everybody, we're going to be, amongst other things, we're going to be delving into the 5 keys to building a successful intuitive eating practice with women over 50. So that is Cindy's area of expertise. And it's really interesting because she also works on the, like the fitness side of things. So we're going to get a good sense of, how she kind of balances that, sometimes a delicate balance,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Sometimes they can be
Yes.
viewed as potentially opposing
Yes.
philosophically, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to delve into that. We're going to really get the backstory on, why and how Cindy chose these 2 niches and how she manages both of them under one roof within her business. And again, we'll chat about those 5 keys to building a successful intuitive eating practice and really looking at serving women 50 and up, which I think is a fantastic target market. So let's jump in. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lesli Bitel, and again, I want to welcome you. I help nutrition professionals, functional medicine practitioners to really overcome that sense of confusion, that overwhelm that is often associated with the business side of building a profitable practice. So in my work, I teach those tools and techniques that are really helpful to attract clients, those really committed, awesome clients, and also to generate multiple revenue streams, including one-to-one work, group programs, memberships, and online courses. So that's a little bit about me. Cindy, why don't you kick things off and tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, thanks. I've been a registered dietitian now for probably, going to date myself here, at least 30 years. And actually learned about intuitive eating back in my undergrad days. And just it really changed my philosophy on eating and weight-related issues. I actually met Ellen Satter, who I think is the one who started the ball rolling on eating according to physical cues for hunger and satiety. And then Elise Resch and Evelyn Triboli wrote their popular book, Intuitive Eating, which has been fantastic. So fast forward 30 years, and I had gone back to get my doctorate because I was just wanting to learn more about weight issues and promoting women's health. So I ended up developing a physical activity fitness intervention for obese women at Colorado State University. And I use that program, or at least the basis of that program, in the work that I do now. I have 2 businesses right now. Oops, am I there? There. Okay. Now I can't hear you, Leslie. I can't hear you. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me. Good old technology. I can keep talking if, okay. So I, right now I have 2 online businesses. One of them is with triathletes and runners. And the other is with women over 50. And the women, and obviously there's women over 50 who are runners and triathletes, but the women's group are predominantly women who are sedentary, or only lightly being active. And I have some programs for them that I think we'll talk about in a minute. My other group, as I mentioned, are runners and triathletes, because I am a runner and a triathlete. And so it's just something I've always been interested in. So I'll just, are you back there, Leslie? No problem. I know I do these interviews too, and I can't tell you how many times I've had problems. So, everybody bear with us.
All right. Let's see. You can?
Yeah.
You can hear me. Seriously?
I seriously can.
Yes. I don't know what I did exactly, or if even what I did was what I meant to do, but I'll just take it.
Sure.
Thanks, guys, for the heads up. And I could hear most of what you said, Cindy. So
okay.
Awesome. All right. Woohoo. We're back on.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment, right, guys? I'm telling you, you think you got it all figured out. You do the test. Yeah. You just never know. All right. So you were talking about why you chose these particular areas of expertise, right? And the people in your life that really had a big influence.
Yes.
On moving in that direction.
Yes. Well, Ellen Satter, who wrote that definition of normal eating that you all probably have read. Everybody probably has read, and I followed her pretty closely. I actually got to meet her at a conference, and she totally changed my thinking completely. And then intuitive eating came out, and so at the time I was actually a clinical dietitian at our local hospital, and I was doing the outpatient clinic, and most of it was weight management. And so people were coming to me for weight loss, and before, in the beginning, I was, writing out those calorie restricted diets with the exchange booklet.
1,800 calorie ADA, right?
Right. Oh my gosh, I hated it. I'll just be honest, I hated it. And that's when I went back to school, because I thought, there's just a better way to help people improve their health. There just has to be a better way. So I got my doctorate at CSU, and during that time, I became kind of immersed in the health at every size movement that was just gaining traction in the late 90s, and also the fit and fat controversy. I mean, it is still a controversy, but I became privy to a lot of the research behind that, and just kind of became adamant that you can be healthy at every size. You can be fit at every size. And so that, along with becoming certified as an intuitive eating instructor, counselor, I decided I'm going to work with the 2 groups of people that I know the most. One is the runners and triathletes, and I bring the intuitive eating piece to them, which, as you mentioned, is kind of opposed at certain times, and I'm happy to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then with the women that I work with who are over 50, and I'm over 50, so that's a group that I relate to very much so. So yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, let's delve in. Tell us a little bit about, well, first of all, so what do you do when someone comes to you and says, I want to lose weight?
Never happens.
No, I'm sure, right? I
daily.
want to lose weight.
I want to lose weight. First of all, I think it's really important. If you're in the intuitive eating, health at every size world, like I am, to still respect and honor where people are with their bodies. You know, we're all in different places. And I sometimes have heard people in the health at every size world speak very critically of anybody who wants to lose weight, and can't approach it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is very rare that somebody's going to come to me and say, I want to be healthy at every size, you know, because most people have not heard of that concept. So they usually come to me wanting to lose weight, or I would say with the women over 50 that I work with, it's either wanting to lose weight or they want to be healthy. So that's a good segue into, for me at least, into talking about what constitutes health, what improves health. And we talk about more of the big picture. We also talk a lot about physical activity and fitness, because that was where my doctorate was in. And so I'm not a certified exercise trainer at all, but I feel I know enough about improving fitness to talk to them about that. But we usually start with the eating piece, the weight piece, and kind of go from there.
Yep, I love that. So, yeah, and it is so interesting how this area of work can be so polarized amongst professionals, right?
It's too bad, because I totally understand why people want to lose weight. You know, you can't live in this society without getting that message that, especially women, men get it too, but I do think women get it more. Get the message that, you know, we need to be thin. And then of course, from health professionals, you'll hear things like, well, we just want you to be healthy, and that means weight loss. So I understand why women want to lose weight when they, and men, the athletes that come to me. I get that, and I totally respect it. However, I do believe that you can be healthy at a range of weights and sizes and shapes. And what I usually try to talk to them about is, oops, sorry, I hope that wasn't too loud. Other ways to achieve the goals that they have for themselves, you know, other ways to achieve good health. And one of which, as we all know, is physical activity and fitness. It's not the only one, but it's a big one. And so that's the area that I do work a lot with, along with the intuitive eating and just good nutrition, you know, but not with the weight focus. And I find that most people that I talk to are okay with that, you know, as long as they know. I mean, they usually want to eat better. You know, they're tired of feeling tired, and they're tired of eating fast food and processed foods, and they're kind of tired of that, and they want to be healthy. So they definitely are on board with the nutrition piece. They still may want to lose weight. I'm not going to convince them in 10 minutes to not want to lose weight. There's just no way. But what I can try to convince them of is looking at other ways to be healthy, other outcomes. And I find that that's where the common ground is. So.
I love that. So more energy.
I can't hear you again.
Okay. All right.
Everybody else can hear you.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, okay.
Let me talk to you a little bit about, while you're doing that. I tell the people that come to me for weight loss that I'm not going to convince them, you know, to want to stop losing weight, but what we can do is maybe have them put it on the back burner. And instead, let's look at fitness, physical activity, mental health, self-care, all those things. Let's work on all of those. Let's work on nutrition and work on the physical activity, and then just see where the weight goes, see where the weight falls, rather than saying, you know, the older way, the traditional way was, okay, let's have you lose 10 pounds. Then your cholesterol is going to come down. Then your blood pressure will come down. Then all these other things. that may not be the case. Weight loss may not be necessary. I've seen people become active or improve their fitness and see all those same changes. Or, as we all know with the DASH diet, just changing the quality of foods that they eat can lower blood pressure. So I usually talk to people about changing their diet so that it's higher in nutritional value, has more nutrient-dense foods in it, but also honoring hunger and fullness, and tuning in more to what their bodies are telling them. And we go into that in a lot more depth when we work together. Working on fitness, setting some physical activity goals, you know, whether it's getting some activity 30 minutes, 4 days a week, or I don't know, we come up with these goals. And I'll just say, hey, let's work toward those and let's just see what happens to your weight. Okay. And more to satisfy them. I'm not concerned about their weight. I am concerned that they become more active and fit, and that they are eating overall a better diet, you know, at least 80 to 90% of the time. And that they're honoring hunger and fullness and not having a diet mentality. Those are my goals for them. But I don't usually say, well, I don't work with weight loss and I'm not going to help you lose weight, because they'll just walk away. I think. So,
okay, guys,
Leslie.
Okay, Cindy.
I don't know what to do because I can't hear you. See what I can talk about.
Can the rest of you hear me? This is insane today. Okay. Let's see.
I can.
Here. All right.
Oh.
Thank you, the other Cindy. All right. It's all right. It's all right. I'm so glad we have a problem solver here. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. What changed here? What's working? All right,
Cindy.
Yeah. Awesome. We're good.
I had to turn it down so you wouldn't hear the text sound coming in. Oh gosh, that's my fault, not Leslie's fault. My fault.
We're all good. We're all good.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Oh my goodness. So funny, huh? All good. Life is good. Life is good. Hey, before Cindy and I went live, we were saying, let's just have some fun.
Yeah.
Use a good laugh, right? And here we are. Exactly. Oh, you just got to laugh.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about what you offer. Okay. So
okay, sure.
Talk a little bit about, how you've bundled up your services.
Sure.
And who gets what.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got these two target markets, essentially.
Right. Two target markets.
Yeah. So how do you tell us more about that? Like, what do they get? How do you handle those two markets?
Sure. And one of the biggest things I learned from you, Leslie, is to get away from the one-on-one, to still offer it, but make it a higher ticket offer.
Yeah.
And try to and develop a program that you can like a group program, or maybe it's a kind of a hybrid. But that's what, for my triathletes, that's what I developed. It's an academy, and it's a group program, and they get a training plan, they get a nutrition plan, and we have group Zoom meetings once a week, which really is one of the most important things you can do if you have a group program, is to have Zoom or whatever platform you use, because it's that like what we're doing right now. It's talking to each other, and it's critical, I think. So my husband and I developed a group program for our runners and triathletes. And I'm in the process of creating one for the women that I work with. I have a deep dive intuitive eating package already that's primarily one-on-one. So that one is one-on-one. But I'm creating a hybrid approach right now. So I don't have it completely done right now, but I'm excited about it. I'm really excited. And I have a Facebook group with the women in it. It's called Nutrition for Women in Midlife. It's not an exciting title, but if any of you want to join, you're more than welcome to. But that's where I'm kind of building my audience. And so back to the deep dive intuitive eating package, even though it's one-on-one, boy, I tell you, I love it. And it's so simple. The package is, I just meet with my client, whoever signs up for it, once a week for 60 minutes on Zoom. And we work through the intuitive eating workbook. It's just, that's all it is, but we have so much to talk about in each session. And I would say most people that I work with in that, and it's a higher ticket thing because it's one-on-one, but it's about 4 to 5 months of working with that one person, and we go really in depth. So I've kind of set that aside as the one-to-one, and then I'm now creating, in the process of creating the group hybrid type program so that, you know, as Leslie has taught me and all of you out there, you know, you want to kind of get away from the one-to-one as your sole income source, because you'll burn out, you know. So I have that for the few people that really want to work closely with me to go into their personal issues with eating. And I do love doing that. But if I also would enjoy having the group as well. So
okay, I love it. So so you guys remember that that profit pyramid, right? I think Cindy, you were in my class.
Yes, that was so helpful. I loved that session.
Yeah, because what I'm hearing is you're using that language, right? That we talked about.
Yes.
And you know, guys, the high, you know, the little pyramid here, right? And at the top, you've got one-to-one, and that's usually where we start, because you got to start someplace. You can't just jump in and try to do it all overnight. Right. And that one-to-one work, it takes one person to say yes, and you know, you're generating revenue, and your profit margin is quite high in that model, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, you're building, you know, your audience, your email list through free, right?
Doing all of that concurrently, because you give away stuff for free. We all have to do that. We all do. Yep.
Exactly. So where Cindy's at in her business is looking at where can she build, you know, what are some of these other levels in that profit pyramid that she can build out. And specifically, it sounds like you're focusing on that hybrid, which would just be one step below the one-to-one. Right. So it's still a high-end group, right?
Yes. There has to be some one-on-one, but in the program that I'm working on right now, it will not be the deep dive intuitive eating. It will be the principles of intuitive eating will be in it, but not at the level that they would get in the deep dive program, because I just can't with a group, you know. Right. We will cover the principles. We will cover, you know, nutrition and physical activity. But it's kind of nice this way because you're piquing the interest of people in intuitive eating. So they get the basics of intuitive eating, the principles. We talk about it. I do quite a few Facebook Live sessions on intuitive eating. But then for the people who say to themselves, boy, I'd really like to learn how to do this, then they can sign up for the deep dive. You know, but other people might not want to go into that much depth, but they're still getting the principles of intuitive eating and nutrition and physical activity in the hybrid program.
So, I love that. What is your website?
It is mybodymylifenutrition.com.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So let's see if I can type that in. My body, my life, nutrition.com.
Okay. And The program that I have on there right now that's is called Eat Well, Be Well, but that's the one that I'm revising and working on. So it'll be a bit different in another couple of months, weeks.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Yep. I think I spelled that correctly, right? Yep.
You did.
Awesome. All right. Excellent. So you're building out other parts of the business, which I think is so awesome. And you've built up an audience. Tell us a little bit about how you have gotten in front of your audience.
Sure.
In order to build,
Yes.
build things up, build that list, like some of the free stuff that you've done. Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, blogging is, one of the best ways, we all know about blogging, but really they're like little mini commercials for yourself, that it's free advertising in a sense. So, I actually haven't blogged in a while, but for quite a while I was blogging and posting the blogs. That's the key to Facebook. I primarily use Facebook just because that's where my target audience is. So posting those, getting those out. Anytime you can be interviewed anywhere, getting your name out that way is a great way to get people to know who you are. And there's ways of doing that. And there's dietitians who specialize in mastering the media, and they're great. So mainly it's just being on Facebook, honestly.
Yeah. Well, if you're working with women over 50, that's where they are. They're not on Instagram.
They're not really. And I was
maybe a little bit, but
I am on Instagram, but I just didn't get a lot from Instagram. And it's probably partly, maybe I didn't do the marketing correctly, but I just found Facebook is where they are. So I created a Facebook group, and that's one of the first things that I would suggest doing with whatever market or niche that you want to be in is start a Facebook group and try to build that along with your email list at the same time. And that's just probably one of the fastest ways to get your name out there, I think.
Yeah, I do too. So I think if you're on Facebook, definitely, if that's the area that you want to focus on, the platform, I think the groups are where it's at for sure.
They really are. And I think we all probably have a love-hate relationship with Facebook.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely do. But it's been great in terms of building my audience. And I have a Facebook page, but I honestly don't do as much on the page anymore because of Facebook's algorithms. I don't people really look at pages anymore, but occasionally I put stuff up there. But it's mainly in the group and building that. And one of the most important things to do in a Facebook group that I have learned, and I've learned this from Lesli too, just indirectly because I watch a lot of her live sessions because I always learn something every single time. I do, I really do. So in my Facebook lives, or what I think is important if you have a Facebook group is to do a weekly live in your group, because it's that face-to-face human connection. You just can't beat it. I post a lot, but the live interaction once a week is really the most important thing that you can do. And I enjoy it, and I mean, stuff happens like with the sound issue one time. My dog came in one time. My mom came back here and was asking me where the hairdryer was. And I'm like, well, but it happens.
It does. It's real life. And honestly, it's just one of those funny things. And people are very accepting and tolerant, and it's real life. So
it's real life. And, we're all again, I mean, all of this Zoom live stuff like this started with COVID, but, I think it will continue actually because, if you have an online business, obviously you can't speak to your audience in person. So really this is the next best thing. But I would really highly encourage you, if you're considering any kind of practice, to have your Facebook group with a weekly live.
Absolutely. And collect the email addresses as they go into the group.
Yes. And here's a tip. Here's a tip that I learned. Once you have your group set up, don't invite people to your Facebook group. When you're
Right.
in the group, you'll see the little invite, and it's so easy to click on that and go.
Yes.
And it takes you through all your Facebook friends. And I went invite,
Yeah.
and they joined, but you don't get their emails that way.
Yes.
I didn't know that. So that's one thing I'll save you time on. So if you have your group and you want their email addresses, you need to send them the link to your Facebook group.
Yeah.
So that's how you get people in the group. Then, of course, there's other ways to get email addresses, having an opt-in on your website, or a landing page with an ebook, or, there's other ways. But in your Facebook group, don't invite people unless you already have their email address.
Yeah, that's such a good tip. It really is. Because when I first started my group, my first group years ago, it's funny thinking back. So I had that little poll, that little questionnaire, right?
Yes.
And people would fill it out.
Yes.
But I didn't realize in the beginning that once I clicked accept, it goes away.
Exactly.
Like, it's gone.
That's the other thing.
I thought,
that's the other thing.
They have to save this somewhere, but they don't.
They don't. I did the exact same thing. Once I started getting people coming to the group and asking to join, you should have 3 questions. The last of which is, please give me your email. That way, you usually say it nicer than that. But but then when they answer those questions, grab that email.
Yes.
I don't know why Facebook doesn't hold on to that, but they just don't.
Yeah, they don't. And so like I clicked accept like probably 2,000 times before I went, wait a second.
I need to get that email address. Because you really want people's email address to build your list, to be able to send things out. And that's how I see what Leslie's doing. I see some of the events on Facebook, but I get her emails and I read her emails. So it's like, okay, so this is when she's going live next. This is what she's going to cover next. So emails are important.
Anyone that knows me at all knows that is the strategy.
Yes.
You use social media to get people on your email list. End of story. Like you don't own Facebook. You don't own Instagram, right? The only thing we want to do there is move them to your email list. Right.
Exactly. That's the key. Because most people, have email. Most people check their email. I don't think email is going away. So it's really, the long-term way to reach people. Now, granted, they may not read your emails, but there's techniques for making your emails more exciting. There's lots of ways of doing that, but you have a better chance of reaching people if you're able to email them.
Absolutely. So what are those 5 keys? Let's talk through those. This is a joint effort.
Yes, it is.
Coming up with those 5 keys, like the 5 keys to building a successful virtual practice, serving women over 50. Or an intuitive eating practice for that matter.
Yeah. I think, gosh, there's so many things.
I know. Hard to narrow them down to 5.
Yeah. The first one is really know your audience. Know your audience really well. I do think if you're going to teach intuitive eating, you need to be an intuitive eater yourself. I just can't imagine teaching it if you don't do it yourself. So I would first, if you want to teach intuitive eating, would be to learn it yourself and do it. I've been an intuitive eater for 30 some years now. So and I've gone through there's so many things that people go through with it. With the whole process, there's so much personal growth when you learn the intuitive eating process. So if you haven't done that, then you need to do that before you teach it. And this wasn't in my list, but I think you should become certified as a intuitive eating counselor through the authors of the book, Intuitive Eating. They just go to intuitiveeating.com and you'll find out how to become certified. There's a cost to it. And I think when I did, it was like 9 weeks or something, but Evelyn Triboli was on the call, the group calls that we had. And I mean, that was gold to be able to hear her talk to us and be able to ask her questions. So it was in my.
Okay, I think, oh, there you are. You're back.
Okay. Yeah. I think know their pain points, know what, and this is something I learned from Lesli too, when we first started working together, is know what, no, I can't think of any other way. Just know their pain points. What are they wanting to change? How are they wanting to improve? You know, what is it that's motivating them to reach out to you? In intuitive eating, it's usually people who are tired of dieting. They're like, I'm just so tired of all these diets. I'm tired of dieting. I'm tired of, you know, always focusing on what I'm eating and counting fat grams or carbohydrate grams. You know, I'm tired of all that. I'm ready to find another way to be healthy. So that's usually where the women that I see that's where they are. So when I formulate my message, it is, are you tired of dieting? You know, are you tired of not being able to eat the same food your family's eating? Are you tired of hating your body? Are you tired of hating food? You know, and the people who are ready for intuitive eating will say, oh yeah, definitely. The people who are not ready won't, but that's not who you want to work with anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah. So if they're not
interesting.
Yeah. So
question for you.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people like us practitioners, we hesitate to talk about the pain points in our marketing.
Yeah.
Any comments on that?
Just have to do it.
Yeah. Thank you. Just do it.
You just have to do it because that's
faith.
That's where you're going to hook people in.
Yeah.
You know,
if I were to go out, right?
Yeah. If I were to go out and say how wonderful intuitive eating is, I'd probably get a few people that might be interested because they've heard of it and they want to know what it is. But if you go out and say things like dieting doesn't work and it's miserable.
Right.
There's that honeymoon period that everybody probably goes through when they start a diet that, oh, this is great, I'm getting healthy and all that, but it soon ends. The other thing is that I find a lot of the women that come to me have lost and gained weight many times, and they're tired of that.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one too.
They're very tired of the yo-yo dieting, yo-yo weight loss, and they just want to learn to eat according to hunger. Well, they don't usually say according to hunger and fullness, but they want to be more in tune with their bodies. They want to eat. They do want to eat healthy. They do. That is part of it. But they just don't want to follow any kind of restrictive diet anymore. And that's where you hook them in, because that's the pain point. They don't want to. They don't want to count fat grams or carbohydrate grams or calories or only eat between 10 and 4.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're just tired of being obsessed, right?
Yes. Tired of
living that way. Yes. Yeah. And what's so interesting is so many people don't know that there's another way. That's what's so exciting about this particular field.
Exactly.
They just, they don't even know, like, that they don't have to suffer.
Right. Right. And, you know, a lot of times people who hear about intuitive eating, but they don't know a lot about it, they think, oh, you know, if I ate everything I wanted to eat whenever I wanted to, I would, you know, be 300 pounds. And I would say, actually, no. You know, when you give yourself permission to eat whatever you want, it takes the power away from the food. Most people find that they don't. They ended up eating according to hunger and fullness. And so I'll go into that in more detail. But the very last principle of intuitive eating is gentle nutrition. And so that's where we bring in the piece about nutrition is important. And that is part of respecting your body, is making sure you're getting the nutrients your body needs. So sometimes you really have to know intuitive eating very well to be able to teach this because people will have lots of concerns and
Right. Yeah. So it's not saying go ahead and just eat whatever you want all day,
yeah,
every day. Like eat
right,
brownies
right.
24/7.
Yeah,
Right.
no, none of us would do that, but that's what people think it is. So
Yeah.
those are usually not the people that come to you. Those are the
Right.
people who don't want to do it. The people who come to you have read enough, or their curiosity has been piqued, and so you need to take it from there with them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I would say know your audience and know their pain points and know intuitive eating really, really well.
Okay.
Like first and second one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
Well, have some kind of program, have a program,
Yeah.
a flagship program. And that's where Lesli is amazing because she teaches you how to develop that. But you obviously got to have something to offer them. I do have the deep dive intuitive eating package, but as I mentioned, I need something for those who don't want to do that or maybe can't afford that right now. So have the group program available. I used to teach intuitive eating at our local library, and I would have probably, I don't know, 15, 20 people in there. And it was great because everybody could hear each other's, questions and concerns. So developing some type of a flagship program that you can market, because when you start talking to people, you got to have something to offer.
Exactly.
So yeah. And then, gosh, there's so many things, but number 4 would be one thing that Lesli talked a lot about when we worked together was knowing what to say when you talk to them, having a good sales call ready to go. People will have lots of reasons not to sign up. Usually the one is cost. The number one is usually cost or time sometimes. Yeah. So you just have to have answers ready to go for that. Yeah. And you're not going to get everybody. There's, there are going to be people who just say, sorry, I'm not going to do this right now. One thing I have found though, I've had several people come back, who I talked to initially who either didn't have the money or the time, or they weren't quite convinced. And they came back a couple of months later and said, I think I'm ready to do this. Yeah. So keep that in mind when you're talking to potential clients, that if they're giving you a lot of pushback, you could be planting that seed. Yeah. And you never know, they might come back. So always, always leave the conversation on a positive note and keep that door open.
Absolutely. And, one thing just to piggyback on that, I recommend that you follow up with people.
Yes.
Oh, right. Like follow up because that actually feels really good.
It does.
Like
it does.
It does. Yeah. Right.
Think about it. If you have a salesperson follow up with you, think about how that makes you feel. You feel important and you think, wow, they remembered me or they
thought of me.
Yeah. So yeah, and it doesn't have to always be a phone call. It could be a direct message on Messenger, on Facebook. Right. It could be, however, it could be a text, I guess. Ideally, it's best to get them on the phone. But even just reaching out to them through Messenger, it's just, hey, we talked a few months ago. I know you weren't interested at that time, but I just thought I'd check in and see if you're interested now. And, you can say whatever. But always follow up with people.
Always, always. Yes. Like keep a spreadsheet and keep track of everyone that you've talked to and what happened and have a plan in place. Put it in your calendar to follow up. I would say especially in this market. Yes. Because it's scary. It is. Like, because you're really unearthing a lot of emotions behind food and eating. And that can be really scary for people. And they might just not be ready. Yes. Right?
Yes. And, that made me think, too, along with that, I think it's okay to share some of your own struggles. Or, as they talk about what they're struggling with, you could say, yeah, I remember I did too, I used to be, I had issues with eating myself. And so I remember saying, yeah, I remember what that feels like. And I just didn't want to be obsessed with it anymore. And that's not a good feeling. This is what really helped me get out of that. And I think it's okay. I mean, if you've experienced any of that, any kind of eating related issues, share that, you know. I know it's scary, but I've done it so many times now. It's not scary anymore.
Well, vulnerability connects us.
Exactly.
It really does. So you're gonna come across as so much more personable.
Yes.
And it is a good thing. Even
really
though, like, if we're taught in school, like, oh, keep everything separate, right?
Right.
But in your own practice, I would, and especially in this kind of work, I would say that is not true.
No, exactly. I would say that is not true. You don't want to like spill your guts or tell me my story in every detail, but you know,
boundaries.
Right. They're boundaries. Yes. But you do want to share that you've had some of those same issues, same feelings that they've had, and then tie it to what you have to offer.
Yes.
You want to create, and I can't remember what the analogy you used, Leslie, but it was like a bridge. You want to show them where they are now and interject you in the middle of that.
Yes.
What you have to offer will get them to the other side.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So in the sales conversation, you're helping them get clear on point A,
right,
which is where they are,
and
the pain they're in. And you're also helping them get clear on point B, where they want to go instead.
Yes.
And that gives you all the information you need to position yourself as the bridge.
Right.
Right.
That is the key, is to position yourself as the bridge.
Yes.
And your knowledge and your expertise, your program that you've developed will provide that support and accountability and all those things. That's what the people are wanting. The clients are wanting somebody to help them get from point A to point B. And you want to be real clear on what you have to offer and how that will help them get to point B, because that's what they're wanting, is to get to point B. Okay.
Exactly.
And so they need to know what you offer and how you help them and how they will feel when they're done. You know, you don't want to say, well, I've got, weekly Zoom calls, I've got handouts, and I've got all this stuff. You also want to talk about how they will feel when they're done. How do you think that will feel when you're not dieting anymore? When you do eat what you want to eat, when you feel good about your body, when you respect your body, when you trust your hunger and trust your fullness, and people are like, oh, wow, that would be awesome.
That's so brilliant what you just said. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. How would that feel for you? And people are like, oh, that would just be great. Well, I can help you. I went through that myself. I did it myself. I do it now. And I can help you with that. So that's
a lot of times in that sales conversation, we focus so much on, like, here's what you get. You get the weekly Zoom call. You get the PDF. You get the blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares.
Yes.
I mean, for the most part, they don't care.
I'm revising a lot of my websites. So if you go there, you will see it. This long list of things that people get. I think it is important that they know.
At the end, it is important, right?
They want to feel like they are, But most importantly is the transformation that they will experience working with you. They will get to that point where they're not dieting anymore, but they also feel good about how they eat. They feel good about the fact that they're feeding their body well, that they're eating better, feeling better, sleeping better. All of that without following some crazy diet. So my website doesn't have all that as much as I want it to right now. I'm revising it, but it will.
Yeah. It's those transformations, right? So the transformations, because we make decisions from an emotional standpoint, right?
Yes.
And so it really needs to hook us emotionally, just even to make a decision to change.
Yes.
Right? We're talking change psychology here, right? Not just sales.
Yes. And this is where working with women over 50, I find, and being a woman over 50, I find myself thinking more about long-term health, and so than I did when I was, in my 20s and 30s. Sure. So bringing that piece in, you know, how would you feel if you felt really comfortable about your nutrition, you know, how you're eating and feeding yourself, and or if you could go off of your medication, your type 2 diabetes medication, and that's a big one. And we can do that without going on a crazy diet. Because I really believe you can. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that has to be a strict, rigid diet. But so yeah, so just kind of helping people see what that transformation will be and how that will feel to them.
I love that.
So
any other, did we get all 5 in?
The last one would be confidence.
Yeah.
You know, just and this is, you know, something we all, you know, probably struggle with at some point. But the more you believe in what you have to offer, then the more that will come across in when you talk to somebody. So, and that ties back to number 1, really knowing your audience, knowing intuitive eating, knowing whatever it is that you're wanting to help people with, but having confidence in that ability.
Yeah.
And granted, some of that comes with time and experience. I know when I first started out, you know, it's hard to have that much confidence, but once you start working with people and having positive experiences with clients, then you start getting more confidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think confidence in yourself, but also in what you're teaching, the programs you're offering, your ability to help them is key. So
absolutely. All right. So what's next for you in your business?
Yeah. I want to finish this group program that I'm working on and get that launched this fall. Mainly that, and then continue to grow our triathlete academy that we have. That one's working out really well to go to the group program versus the one-on-one. That's really been easy. But with the women I'm working on, is just continuing to work on that, continuing to offer the deep dive intuitive eating package. I love having like 2 or 3 one-on-ones, and then everybody else is in the group.
Yes.
Because when you only have like 2 or 3 one-on-ones that you're really going deep with, it's an enriching experience. But like if you have like, you know, so many one-on-ones, it's hard to give the quality service that you want to give. So I like Leslie's approach to have use that pyramid that she talks about, and have the group stuff in the bottom, and then the top is the one-to-one. And it's really the best way to go.
Yeah. And just, having a variety is.
Oh, yes. That's the other thing, is having a variety of ways to make money. Like I've written a few ebooks, and I have those out for sale. I put them on my website. I mean, I'm not going to get rich on those for sure, but you know, you have that. I do occasional one-on-ones. I do, or just one time. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I get asked for that. Develop different ways to make money. And that makes it more fun that way.
It does, right?
It does.
A little variety.
Right. Then try to do the same thing all the time.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it really serves your clients too.
Yes, it does.
Like, you know, like the hybrid group, honestly, I am finding across the board that concept is really resonating.
Yes.
For a lot of different niches.
Yes.
Like there's certain niches that are just like, it sounds like the triathlete group, right? Like it sounds like that's an easy niche to move over into a group.
Oh, it really is. The group Zoom meetings, like I mentioned, have been so much fun, and people just helping each other out, you know, with their nutrition as it relates to performance, as it relates to triathlon. And then I send group, you know, emails. We have a Facebook group of just us. And so it's everything that I do is out to the group. But then I will message them individually, and, you know, at least once a week, hey, how's it going? I do calculate their calorie and macro targets, which I want to just briefly touch on. People say, well, that's just the opposite of intuitive eating. And the way that I approach it is that with triathletes, there is a time before their race, that 8 weeks before their what we call a race, when they do have to pay attention to macronutrients. They do. If they want to have a really good experience, they really have to pay attention to it. But that doesn't mean that they have to be on any kind of diet. It just means that they need to be aware. They need to know how to balance their meals and fuel their workouts during that 8 weeks. But so it's a balance between that and intuitive eating. And then once the race is over or the racing season is over, then they go back to the intuitive eating exclusively. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So good. So many great nuggets.
Thank you.
I think we have to do this again.
Yes, I'd love to.
Absolutely. And I don't know, like I can almost envision a third target market, just putting it out there. And that is maybe teaching other professionals.
Possibly.
How to do. I mean, I don't know. Might be more than you want, but I think you'd be great at it.
I would enjoy that.
Some groups, like some supervision kind of groups, or
I get a lot
along those lines.
Yeah, I do get a lot of college students that want to shadow me. I never worked with other dietitians though, as in terms of teaching them. Well, no, I take that back. I actually have a couple. So that's interesting. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
It almost time, right?
Yeah, right. Third target market, no problem. No, it kind of goes against that idea of focusing. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. So it was great seeing you all today. Thank you so much, Dr. Cindy. Really loved every minute, and just so much fun to reconnect with you.
Yes, you too. I always love you.
Yeah. So, and I will see you in Colorado soon. Yeah.
When you're here.
I will. And all right, everybody. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.